Welcome back to SeatStory Cup. We're about to have CfoMllann taking on Amaz in the winners portion of this group. Matt's Admirable joined by VLPS and by Lothar. VLPS, it's been quite an event for some of the players here. How have you been enjoying yourself?
Oh, it's been great. You know, just seeing all these great personalities and just great games, great lineups on all sides. And I didn't do so well myself, but, you know, I'll be cheering on a couple players and hopefully a couple of my teammates make it all the way.
Right on, right on. Lothar, buddy, it's been a while since we've had a cast together.
Yeah, we actually talked about this today. I think a year did pass.
Maybe even a little bit longer. It was like a DreamHack and a Gfinity.
Yeah, Gfinity, man.
Yeah.
That event, that was like so long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Firebird won 3 in a row, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 3 in a row. It was pretty crazy.
Yep.
Nuts how sicko that guy used to be at taking down every single tournament that could possibly exist. Since then, competition, I feel like, maybe stepped up to the plate a little bit. And, you know, obviously making a lot more content. How much time does he have to dedicate specifically to tournaments? I think this one in particular was interesting because tournament right before this, he brought an anti-freeze mage lineup. Didn't work out at all. He goes, no one's playing Freeze Mage at SeatStory Cup. Shows up here. A lot of people playing Freeze Mage. So with these two in particular, the upper portion of the bracket, we just saw CfoMllann take out Life Coach in their set, and that is a fantastic win for CfoMllann.
Huge. And this is the next game that he has to win. You know, winner of this game moves on, so he's going to be looking to continue that success in this series.
Yeah, Amaz went ahead and banned away CfoMlann's Shaman build, and CfoMllann took out Amaz's Warlock build, and we've been seeing Amaz do work all tournament long with that Reno Warlock.
Yeah, and I mean, we see in CfoMlann's side, he's running, you know, first matchup Priest here, so definitely a matchup that he wants to avoid. So good ban on CfoMlann's side there.
Yep. So Lothar coming into this match, looking like Dragon Priest for CfoMllann and Aggro Shaman for Amaz. What's your take on this matchup? Who do you really find has the edge, and what are some key cards?
Definitely Priest has an edge if he keeps up with the curve. Basically, if you have turn 1 Twilight Whelp, turn 2 into Vimbra's Agent, turn 3 whatever, basically. It can be Bran, it can be, of course, better would be Talon Priest. But if you just keep up with the board, because Shaman has just less impactful minions in general, you'll be always ahead and you'll have easier time to just overwhelm the Shaman. And when he's overwhelmed, he cannot get back into the board because no one is actually playing Lightning Storms anymore. Only Milestone Portal. Milestone Portal against a Priest, when your minions have like 3 or 4 HP, already hard to kill.
Yeah, and VLPS, looking at the hands specifically here, CfoMlann's a little bit of a slow start, I'd say. This is not the turn that Dragon Priest is looking for. Is Amaz going to run him over here, or do you think he has a chance in this one?
Yeah, this is definitely not the opening that CfoMllann was looking for, not having even a turn 2 play, having to hero power his face and just pass. This is going to be something that Amaz takes advantage of. He knows that there's not going to be any, you know, type of AoE coming down for the next 3 turns, so he's not going to mind flooding the board here and just start sinking in that damage.
Yeah, even if there will be an AoE, right? Most of the priests are running like 1, maybe none, and definitely they're not running Dragonfire Potion because there's so many dragons in the metagame.
Holy Nova seems to be the one of choice. Dragonfire Potion is being cut because this deck, oftentimes if it doesn't establish control, it's not getting it back.
Yeah.
And it wants to snowball those board positions. So Amaz going with Coin and Feral Spirits here. This is largely ignoring the turn 3 drop here. I think it's largely because most of the 3 drops just don't really have a strong effect in this position.
Yeah, they certainly don't. Generally, the only 3 drop is the Cabal Talon Priest, which has no impact if there's no minions on the board on CfoMlann's side. So I don't mind the play by Amaz, and it kind of gets rewarded. He has a clean way to deal with this Bronzebeard and still maintain board control, just trading both Wolves in.
And he's still not afraid of any AoE, so having minions on 1 HP is basically perfect. Priest has no way of dealing 1 damage unless he will use the Potion of Madness, because then he steals one of the Feral Spirits and trades into the other. This is why he made the trade with just 1 of them.
Yeah. Is he giving up a little bit too much there to Potion of Madness, though? I mean, guaranteed loses a minion versus sometimes loses
huge.
2.
It might be something where we don't even know for sure. Have we seen that in CfoMlann's deck?
I don't think we've seen it so far. I haven't seen too many of his Dragon Priest games, but Amaz, it's a fairly astute play to be thinking about it that way. I'm curious how much that's relevant in the grand scheme of things. I mean, he did end up missing potential 2 points damage on the following turn. Sure, he gets punished by the potion, but if the potion's not there, how much did he lose in face of that? Or do you feel like does he just think he's going to win if there's no potion here? So
it's slightly better against a Nova, right, on the upcoming turn. Because then both of your minions will not die to it.
Yeah.
Because 1 turn of healing with Healing Totem is not enough to get out of that range. So maybe that was also on his radar.
Well, there's a couple good plays here, I'd say.
Yeah. And choosing not to use that second power word shield, you know, it cleanly allows him to just drop a Jade Lightning here and just trade the patches in.
I was actually sure that he will use the second powered shield because it's so important
Yeah,
to just
for
have
sure.
anything on the board. Right?
Yeah.
I am a little bit curious about it. I feel like that digging into the deck for Camlin really matters here. You know, and finding Twilight Guardian, picking up Holy Nova, even Shadow Word Pain, or in some of these instances, could really help him swing this board back. Instead, Amaz is left with what looks like the start of a Jade build, and once he starts scaling into those Jades, if he's able to keep pushing damage, I don't know if Camlin recovers that.
Yeah. And you can see Amaz, you know, not playing this turn super fast. He's definitely considering that 7/7. You know, it's one of those cards where if they don't have the Shadow or Death, there's only 2 copies of it. He's going to be rewarded.
So this is a really interesting play. He's actually going to start building into the Jade now. And this is kind of interesting because this develops the Jade Claws. And at the same time, it starts building on the Jade. And this leaves him with Jade Lightning on turn 4. So when he sees Blackwing Corruptor here, when he sees Azure Drake, or even when he sees Operative, he's able to use Jade Lightning to respond to that and keep going afterwards.
What do you guys think about that trade there at the end there?
It's
Trading
really
in the
weird, kind of
2/3.
inconsistent with what he did before.
Yeah,
right?
he
It's completely opposite.
Exactly, yeah. Interesting how before he chose to play around the Holy Nova, then this turn kind of goes with the opposite action.
Yeah, so he might have seen, he might have been playing around specifically Potion, and then when he didn't see the Potion onto Patches, then run into the 2/1 Wolf, is now assuming that it's not in Camlin's hand, because that would have been a pretty fantastic
for
turn.
sure.
So when he doesn't see that, I'm guessing that Amaz just concludes it's not in the hand for Camlin.
Yeah, that's true. And if we don't see in a way, his action took, you know, the way he played it worked out, because Blackwing Corruptor would have been huge there for Camlin had he not traded the 2/3 into the...
Yeah, now it's still pretty good, but a little bit awkward.
Yeah, not as good, exactly.
But it's still okay because he has Jade Lightning, which deals cleanly with the Blackwing Corruptor, and he's still on curve, right? So it's
4
just
Jade
for-
spells,
Yeah,
too.
these Jade minions are going to start quickly building up board presence.
All right, this is a wonderful turn for Amaz. I mean, when you have this many great ways to handle what your opponent's doing, that's usually spelling a winning position.
Yeah. And Amaz can kind of tell at this point that there's probably no Holy Nova on Camlin's side. That was probably the best point he could use Holy Nova for, so Amaz can probably...
Wow, I'm completely like surprised what he's doing.
I actually really like this, and one of the reasons why is because Camlin's turn 3 was Brand, and if he had anything that was weaker to play on turn 3, he would have done it then. So when he runs into Shadow Word Death, Camlin's very likely not really adding much to the board. And when he adds something to the board, he has Jade Lightning waiting for it. So this is a risk that he's taking with an even backup plan on this.
Yeah, I
I
don't
understand your point, but it's still I'm not a fan of the previous turn because he benefits from the fact that his opponent doesn't have the Holy Nova. Didn't have it. I mean, we see that now it was being drawn. But in general, as VLPS said, that was the best turn to play Holy Nova. So if your opponent doesn't have it, you still can invest into a wider board. And he didn't want to play into Shadow Word Death on turn 4, right?
Yeah.
So why do you want to play it into it this turn when you have other options? And other options, Jade Lightning, cleanly kill the Corruptor, push for more damage, build the board at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see both sides of it. I think his thought was this is a good turn to take a risk because it's very unlikely Camlin can make too much impact with the remaining 3 mana.
Ooh,
Wow,
he
that
hits
is huge.
Miles important. This is like
Huge.
insane.
Yeah, that's insane with the Drakes in hand.
Not only that,
Now,
you can
speaking
just-
of insane, the 5th Jade card for Amaz gets drawn. There is a lot of ways to start handling this. Oh my goodness, that is sick.
Yeah, this is an interesting turn for sure. I mean, you definitely want to start building these Jade mechanics, you know, maximizing that Jade potential. I mean, this turn, it's a pretty clean answer to go Jade Lightning and Jade Claws to take out this Draconoid Operative, and then you still have the follow-ups with the Jade, you know, with the Aya Blackpaw next turn.
you have 5 damage from the Jade Lightning, so you can as well trade with Thalnos.
Yeah, cycle the Thalnos, you know, how much value is it really providing at this
Yeah,
point?
so I think what Amaz is looking at here is with Jade Lightning, with Jade Claws, with Lava Burst, the Aya is presenting a lot of damage on board. And so because of that, can he start just directing this at face because of that Lava Burst? Maybe he's
try to
turned the
sneak
corner.
in lethal in one turn, exactly. Yeah, very fair point.
That's a really astute play, I think. And
It is ambitious.
Yeah, but looking at Camlin's hand, I mean, he doesn't have a strong way to answer this, I don't think.
Why not? You can just you can use the Holy Nova first, Miles and Portal, then kill the 4/4 minion with your Dragon Operative, and you clean the board. You still have minion on board. So opponent is is on the back foot, right? He's on the back foot, and
Yeah.
he needs to battle back. Because the Dragon Operative needs to be killed, because if it's not, then you risk that he's getting additional value each turn from that point onwards. So I feel like this is pretty straightforward for CeFormlann. But other options, what can happen if he plays Acid Drake?
Yeah, I don't know if I like the Drake as much as what Lothar's action
Ooh,
was.
that's a nice pickup. I'll tell you what, if Amaz races for lethal, that could be the backbreaker.
But the most important, most likely, will be used next turn, and that's like the best card
Now,
to
if he
use with
chooses
this
to trade
beast.
here and not use any type of AoE, is this possibly lethal here? So we have how
5,
much?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Whoa, does that change things? That might
That
change
is
things.
Oh,
plus
yeah.
4, plus
That
4
is-
damage for 2 mana, right?
12 plus 6 is 18 plus 20,
20 damage. Yep.
That is lethal that Amaz is
Wow.
going to
Okay.
be calculating now.
So now let's rewind the situation. When you're a priest, right?
Yeah.
And your goal is to battle for the board, why do you
I completely
not go
yeah,
for it?
I completely
right?
agree with Lothar's choice of going Holy Nova Maelstrom, trade the 5/6 into the 4/4,
Yeah.
clean the board up, and you regain initiative. And
Yeah.
That's how you snowball as a priest, right?
One of the things that to me is the big tip-off is that Amaz has been keeping a strict control over the board, and now suddenly he plays a sticky minion and just goes for the throat. To me,
Wait.
that spells
Let's make
damage
sure he
in
sees
hand.
this.
Wait.
Let's make sure he sees this.
Did he count it?
He's been counting it for a while now, so it's 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. Yeah, that is lethal right
Yeah,
there.
he's just making sure.
Just
that-
making sure. This is a pretty big moment for him. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to mess it up at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be the worst time to make that happen.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that Cannon actually went for like a really passive turn,
Yeah.
because of the fact that Amaz had actually 4 cards in his hand. 4 cards as
Yeah.
a shaman. When he didn't see a single lightning bolt, a single jade lightning, you have seen only 1 weapon, and no flamethrower totems.
Yeah, I think he could have gotten a little bit of a stronger read on the hand there, just from the sudden change of pace from Amaz. Like that's I think it's a lot more about what that play says about his hand, and a lot less about just the pure efficiency of his board. Like if Amaz had been playing cleanup there, I can totally see playing the Azure Drake alongside the Talon Priest. Amaz probably needs to rustle control the board and get some more minion damage in.
Yeah.
But in that spot, just smells like lava burst.
Yeah, that's true.
And
1-0 for Amaz
yeah.
with the shaman. So that's pretty convenient, because you have won a unfavorable matchup, I would say.
Yeah.
Priest has a small upper hand in that matchup.
Yeah, but now the Dragon Warrior in this build very much has been tackling these aggro shamans all weekend long. It is such a strong build when you scale so early versus what the shaman presents.
yeah.
Especially with this opening hand, like this is insane.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, Pirates, first mate, you can have multiple options for turn 1. First mate with upgrade on top, if you need the free damage against a Trog, an example, because you sacrifice patches and the attack from the weapon. You have also option to just coin out Alexander's champion, if you need that. You can also play Nzov and nothing else, and still keep the coin for if you draw another dragon, so you have a turn 3 Twilight. That's like so many options that
Yeah.
you can just do whatever you want.
Options dominate these early battles. I mean, when you can mold your hand to completely wipe out your opponent's board, that is the dream, and that is how you start beating this deck. Now Amaz left with, a Totem Golem.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totem Golem is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Oh, he chooses to go with the J clause.
Yeah, I don't mind slowing it down here either and trying to force some more action from your opponent and maybe
But I mean-
feel out where this should fit in.
But that means you're not able to play Totem Golem on turn 2. Oh, sorry, on turn 3, because you can play Flamer Faceless on turn 4.
Yeah.
So what do you favor? Turn 2 Totem Golem or a weapon that gives you a little bit of tempo in turn 2 and 3, but still it's not enough to kill almost any minion that the Dragon Warrior will play, actually.
Yeah, I think that there's merits to both sides of it. You know, Amaz very worried about Cultist, I think, in some of those spots to not lose control. And then this was clearly the map for it. It was specifically playing strong against Alex Strauss' champion with the Jade Claw.
Yeah, and now that does allow him to have no overload going into turn 4.
Well, it's going to be overloaded on something. It's just going to be board presence. So
Yeah.
CeFormlann's hand is not slowing down anytime soon.
And what do you guys think about this matchup? So this is actually something I've been talking about with a lot of players here, and a lot of people historically, obviously Dragon Warrior has been great against aggro shamans, but ever since the execute nerf, having a clean answer to these 7/7s has become problematic for a lot of these Dragon Warriors. So I've been finding in my discussions with players that this matchup is no longer so one-sided. It's actually close to even on both sides.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as one-sided, but
Yeah.
the Flame Wreath Faceless is really the card I think that's breaking that.
Oh, yeah.
If Amaz doesn't draw that card, I think he's at a pretty substantial disadvantage. And when he draws it, it brings it closer to even. And to me, that spells Dragon Warrior dominance.
Okay, it's a fair point.
It's also like the fact that they don't have executes anymore pushes the Dragon Warrior into a trade value battle, basically. So if they can pull off some trades when their minions are on 2 HP instead of full health or just 1 HP, and they don't die to Maelstrom Portal, you can take back the value that you had from execute.
Yeah.
Because you just trade the small minions to bigger minions, and then those remains of those minions can trade into the 7/7, and you still basically are on top because your cards are way more powerful than the Shamans are, and they have bigger board presence.
Yeah, it looks like Amaz is going to potentially play. I'm sorry, Camlin is going to potentially play around Lava Burst here. Nope. So Lava Burst, I think, is one of the better draws for Camlin at this point. That is really
weird, right?
That's really interesting. Because to me, like, not that Lava Burst is a spectacular play here by any means, but it certainly becomes an option.
Yeah, he's going to get rewarded, so there is no Lava Burst on the other side, but that was a huge risk in my opinion, and unfortunately, he's not going to get punished by it, but...
Unfortunately,
Fortunately, he's not going to get punished by it.
All you guys think that VLPS is like this really happy-go-lucky guy, but inside he's just boiling with rage.
Yeah, very sadistic.
But this turn is interesting. You can go for the Corcoran Elite and just trade, but it's very unfortunate that there's a Totem Golem on board still, which kind of trades with the Alexstras's champion.
Yeah, this is a really interesting spot because I think this is where Camlin just takes the lead and says, all right, you got to have the answers to this.
What about just attacking face for 4 instead of trading with the Flame Faceless,
Yeah,
right?
that's a choice.
You
I mean, he's
put
got
a lot
the
of
upgrade.
pressure.
Yeah, he's got the upgrade in hand. He's already seen a Maelstrom Portal by Amaz. There's generally only 2 AoE spells in the deck. There's no Lightning Storm, so...
The upgrade is basically 4 damage for one mana.
I think it's definitely worth some consideration. But it looks to me like he's going to get out of this one all right.
Ooh, well, that's
that is huge.
That is actually a really good draw. Now,
Really.
the question is, do you want to use upgrade if you play the Ghoul, or do you just go for the Azure Drake trade with the Totem Golem?
I'm still
Just
feeling like the
attack?
Azure Drake is going to be a little bit better here just simply because of the extra power on board. I mean, if you look at it with the upgrade, he can upgrade, kill off the Totem Golem, get the Azure Drake on board, push 3 damage. Amaz is down to 11 at this point.
But you lose the ability to combo with Blackwing Corruptor.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. But you do get to draw an extra card.
Yes, but it might not be a dragon since you already played 2 dragons. You have 2 Crushers in the deck, 1 more Azure Drake, 1 more...
Well, Crusher's a fantastic draw right now. I mean, that's about
that's
the best
true.
one in the deck.
Yeah.
That's huge, yeah.
Well, Crusher just crushes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a good top deck. But I don't know. I just feel like
There's a lot of merit to the Ravaging Ghoul. I mean, it's really
I
strong
think I
here.
like it more just because you've already seen 1 Maelstrom Portal used, so it's very important to, maintain board control, and it's really hard to lose it unless Amaz has that second Maelstrom, which, unfortunate for CamLann, he does have the second Maelstrom, which is not really going to do too much, but it is going to allow Amaz to take board back.
Yeah, and taking it back is...
Wow, that's huge.
yeah, it is. It's actually a 7/7, so it has to be big.
It's really tough to not play Jade Lightning here, though. His life total is
I
so
think he is,
low.
yeah. I think he is. I mean, we've already seen both Alexstras's champion. We've already seen a Corcoran. We know there's probably no Grom in the deck. Does he ever?
He's dying to
get
Crusher.
greedy?
Like
Yeah.
he's not. Here's the thing. He's not dying to Crusher immediately unless he doesn't play the Flame Wreath.
Yeah.
Now,
well, there's a 2-attack weapon, so he does.
no. Because
There you
look
go.
at that. If he
There's
has
the Black
well, it's a
Disruptor.
pretty solid draw. If he has the Flame Wreath on board, he can Flame Tongue and actually kill off the Crusher in that instance.
True. Fair point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he would eat the 3 damage and drop to 8 here, but he'd have Flame Wreath on board. I don't know about that. Maybe he doesn't have to Jade Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's going to be...
That's quite decent if
You
you
really
guys
need that
Taunt
taunt totem. Oh.
Didn't happen.
The question is, can CamLann close in the damage? I don't know.
I think it's going to boil down to the next 1 or 2 draws here.
Yeah,
It's
this
gonna be-
this draw is huge.
He needs to attack face if he has a Ragnaros in his deck.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he needs to attack face no matter what.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
that
actually
is-
great.
Yeah.
That is actually really great
Yeah.
because this turn you have a perfect curve. If you draw a dead card, it might be a Crusher, right? It might be a Ragnaros, whatever happens. If you get anything of value with anything, I mean, sorry, with Finley. With Sir Finn, then it's just insane. Even a weapon, a rogue weapon,
Yeah.
puts you a lot of ahead.
An extra damage each turn, yeah.
Oh, there's the Crusher.
Yeah, I think it's Finley here all day, and then
But you
evaluate
go
the situation.
First Finley without hero power from the warrior because you don't need the armor right now. You are not facing, obliteration next turn.
Yeah.
So basically what you're looking for will be Hunter hero power, Rogue hero power, eventually Druid hero power.
That's steady shot.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a steady shot. I like the steady shot.
I think you go steady shot all the way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
this is
your
a
opponent
3-turn
basically
clock.
has
you're a 2-turn clock, and at the same time, this 7/7 is a scary minion, but it's not going to be ever going face. It has to trade the whole rest of the game.
Oh, yeah.
So you just go steady shot here, no questions asked.
And you have to.
Plays
Amaz
around
needs
Feral
to close out
Spirits.
the. Close
Wow.
out. What?
Wow.
Wow, that is really weird.
Wow.
Okay, let's count it. Camel is at 28.
Wow.
Oh, geez.
I was going to say, steady shot is the only way to play around Feral Spirits, and now this is huge punish. Like, it's going to be very hard for CeFn to get damage to face now.
Especially if Amaz gets a healing totem as well.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough. I don't know about that. That
Yeah.
seems really questionable.
Okay, let's go back to the hero power choose.
He deals him 8
options,
damage
right?
and takes the Amaz to 3. And he's at 26.
Listen, if
28,
you're, if you're
basically.
playing upgrade in your deck, you're going steady shot
Oh, yeah.
all day.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. man.
Amaz needs to kill him in 5 turns if you have the Hunter hero power, right?
No, 2 turns.
Yeah, and he's already used both.
Because the
Jade
5
Lightnings.
damage goes to face, and then he hero powers. He takes Amaz down
Oh, you're
to
right,
3.
because he did a trade.
Yeah.
Right. Never mind then. Yeah, that's 3 turns when your opponent has 28 life. That's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
And suddenly, this just doesn't look very strong anymore.
Yeah, it's actually now completely.
I think Amaz is going to win.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. It's going to be almost nearly impossible to get this board back.
Now we don't even have to trade. Just
I mean,
face.
does Rag,
right?
even if he draws Rag, does Rag even
Wow.
have a chance? Yeah.
He plays Arcanite Reaper, and yet he's a priest now.
Yeah, a priest with Arcanite Reaper.
He would just take Amaz to 1, say go, and he'd just be dead.
Wow,
That's a blunder from CeFn in this spot.
Yeah, and he's upset by it. He's definitely upset by it right now. It's gotten to his head.
I mean, I can understand why did he choose a priest. I mean, not in this match, but in very high number of matches when you play against, like, a shaman or a mirror match, it's important to trade up and just heal and have still board presence. But here, he just had insane amount of damage coming to his opponent's face when he cannot have an option to heal. Right? There's no way Amaz can heal at all.
And each hero power for Amaz is just adding that much more to the board. I mean, this hero power, if this is a taunt totem, that's lights out.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, there is one answer. So Ragnaros the Light Lord. I'm not sure if it's in this deck, though. He's playing Arcanite Reapers. He's playing upgrades.
The Fire Lord, you mean?
Yeah,
Well,
the
I don't know. Maybe with
Yeah.
the
So the
hero
Light
power
Lord.
choice,
Yeah.
the Light Lord.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't.
Wait. That's not this hero power.
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing Rag in this deck just because of all the inclusions that he has. He's got the upgrades. He's got Ravaging Ghoul. He's got to be cutting some type of Blade game to fit that kind of stuff in.
This draw is super important as well. That can't be played alongside the Crusher. And frankly, I'm not even sure if the Crusher is better than the Azure Drake at this point.
Yeah.
Well, he can still go for a second goal, kill the free one, so that's at least something, and heal for 2.
I think it just needs to do 2 things this turn.
Yeah, Azure Drake.
Yeah.
100% Azure.
It looks like the Arcanite Reaper's committed to either the Flame Tongue or the Flame Wreath this turn.
that's very
And
true.
I think the Flame Tongue is a lot better, personally.
Does it save him if he kills the Flame Tongue? There's still 8 plus 6.
He might be playing Slam in his deck. Azure Drake into Slam is also really great because then you can kill the Flamer Faceless.
Azure Drake and the second Corruptor would be good. I think it's Azure Drake.
Yeah, definitely Azure Drake here. I mean, the 9/9 just dies so
Gamlin
easily.
just shaking his head like,
Now he's tilting.
what did
because
I
of the
do?
hero power.
What happened?
He was so far ahead.
I think he just honestly wasn't looking at the life total.
I mean, is the
properly.
9/9 the worst play? So if you kill the Flame Tongue Totem, there's no clean answer on the other side. The main issue is Taunt Totem, which is a 50% chance of happening.
And also, he doesn't really kill him next turn.
Yeah.
Oh my
man.
gosh, that is lights out.
Sometimes justice, right?
Yeah.
There, yeah, you got me.
It was a really clean kill for Kamlan. 3 turns, as
man.
you just said, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, sometimes you blunder, and there's not really any excuse for it, I think, in the matter here. Just lost sight of it, and it's costing him a game.
Let's see what was the draw if you would have played the Azure
Played the
last
Drake,
turn.
yeah.
So,
Oh, never mind. That
okay.
would be
So it would've
pretty
been a dead
horrible.
draw, yeah.
but we would be seeing another one right now, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Man.
2-0 lead. Camlin can't let that haunt him either. If he's thinking about that for game 3,
I mean, now he will be playing Rogue.
Yeah.
Rogue into a Jade aggro is not ideal. Of course, you can have like an insane blowout turn, turn 2, 12-12 Edwin, and your opponent's like,
oh yeah.
okay, I guess I'm gonna lose this game.
Sometimes the rogue gods bestow upon you the Edwinist of Van Cleefs.
Yeah. I mean,
Then you top deck a Shadow of Death.
Hey.
I
It
mean,
actually happened to me this time.
if he can somehow beat the aggro shaman, then he's got a Dragon Warrior matchup, which is not the greatest, not the worst with these new early game pirates that these Miracle Rogues have. And then he's got the Druid matchup, which is definitely favored. So it's a stretch, but it's not, it's not the worst stretch for him.
Yeah, I think a big key to look out for in next matchup is the Amaz Mulligan. If there's a Flame Reef there and Camlin will have a sap, that could be easily enough to swing the tempo in his favor.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course,
But do
there's
you
always
keep
just the
it?
rogue turns.
But do you keep Flame of Faces against Rogue?
Oh, absolutely not. But sometimes you may mulligan into it and kind of be forced down there. So, oh gosh, that just says it all.
Yeah, he's a little upset. He's got to just get it past him, though. He's got to win 3 games in a row to make it to the next group stage, or the playoff stage. So,
I mean, when you look at it this way, it's actually a huge difference, right? You had a 0-1 deficit, and you could have easily turned it around to 1-1 and still have the same deck that you just played in
Yeah.
Arsenal, while your opponent doesn't play the Shaman for the 3rd time. The difference is so huge. It's like completely colossal.
and I've been casting a lot of Camlin's game this weekend. His Dragon Warrior has been destroying the mirror match because things like Upgrade allow him to take out Drakes, Blackwing Corruptors. So he would have had a favorable queue into Amaz's Dragon Warrior, and then he's got the Rogue left over for the Druid. So losing that game was definitely a very, very tough loss for him. So
And I fear for Camlin because it's very apparent he's still thinking about it.
yeah.
Yep. And now he's also starting without a coin, with the Rogue.
Well, there's that Flame Wreath, but that is
Ah.
also a Totem Golem.
Yeah. Pretty good
The
opening for
totemist
Amaz.
of golems. And Camlin's going to be looking for the Edwinist of Van Cleefs. So we'll see who gets off to the races and has a better start. Camlin going to pitch away the prep.
Yeah, exactly. He did pitch away the prep. That's interesting because usually you want to get on the board as soon as possible.
I'm guessing he's looking for like backstabs and pirates in this situation
Yeah,
to try
he
to
can draw
try to
either.
contest.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay, so now the question. Turn 1 Totem Golem or turn 1 Trog?
Honestly, I think Amaz has got a lot of options in front of him here because one of the things I think is most devastating in the Rogue matchup is when you can actually couple Tunnel Trog with Feral Spirit. But this hand I don't think is quite spelling that context. There's a bit too much overload, I think, for him to rely on that. So in this situation, I feel like Amaz is going to be inclined to just get the Tunnel Trog online. When it's answered, it means that the Totem Golem's not getting answers as much.
Yeah.
So either way, he's getting some significant damage here, or the Tunnel Trog just succeeds and you kind of steamroll the game.
Yeah, I mean, Amaz knows right now that there's no pirate in Camlan's hand, so really the only answer on turn 2 for the Rogue is a backstab. So maybe he decides to just play the Tunnel Trog here and make him have the backstab to deal with the...
I mean, you don't know it, right?
Yeah.
You suspect that there's no card because your opponent mulliganed away every single card.
Yeah. I mean, he had his turn 1 play that he didn't play anything. Generally, you would play the small time on the first turn, but yeah.
Now this play is pretty much invulnerable to a lot of stuff there here though. So like in this instance, maybe Camlin sees the turn with Totem Golem, he plays Sap, that will open up the Flame Wreath later on. But in the instance where he's got backstab, this Totem Golem is getting damage through. So
Yeah.
I don't mind this line either. It just starts getting the job done.
I actually like this line too myself. I mean, he's got Tunnel Trog now next turn into a Feral Spirits next turn.
That's actually better.
That's even, yeah, that's huge. Wow, just insane draws on Amaz's side here, drawing all his early game.
I'm not convinced that that's better yet.
All right, because if you want to overload yourself on turn 3 with the Spirit Wolves, then it's probably better to go Trog. But at the same time, you get patches out of the way, and we know how tilting can be when you just draw it next turn.
Yeah.
And it's still good. Like it's like when you think about it,
I don't think
good.
it's wrong. Yeah, like his turn 3 now could be Tunnel Trog, Jade Claws.
Ooh, SI7
Yeah.
Agent's a big one.
that's definitely a great draw for Kamlan. It might help him to get back into this game because now he can get rid of the Totem Golem and the patches at the same time. But he knows that there are 4 weapons in the Shaman's deck, so most likely the agent will just die to the 1-drop, which is unfortunate and kind of a huge tempo loss. But at the same time, he has his own plan. He just needs to get to the point when he just will drop a,
Yeah.
not an Endwin, an Auctioneer and go off with the preps with whatever he can draw, and that will win the game. Not anything else. This is too late for an Edwin, like a 10-10 Edwin or whatever.
Yeah, at this point, CeaRMlann is just trying to absorb as much as he can so that he can get to a safe spot. Rogue doesn't do a great job at sustaining from a low life total. So the harder he fights for board, the more work that Amaz is going to have to do to get back.
Yeah, just choosing to reset the board, kind of make Amaz have a weapon here. Luckily Amaz has the weapon to be able to deal with this 3/3 SI agent.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a big deal here, too, is that this does force Amaz to have something to handle this.
And he does have the Tunnel Trog into the Jade Claws here. And most likely going to see a trade. Just to prevent a value trade on his Tunnel Trog.
Yeah, I'd be a bit surprised if that Buccaneer wasn't saying goodbye, SI.
I like keeping the weapon. You don't have any other weapons in your hand, and you want to have that Buccaneer available with free attack for as many turns as possible.
Giddy up.
Thank you.
Barrel Spirit's looking pretty good here, though.
Yep. But you don't trade, right? You just ignore the Tomb Pillager.
Well, I think it's a little close. I think there's merits to both sides of it. So if he's not going for the trade, it means that he is denying CeaRMlann a coin for a little longer, which could be a big deal. But at the same time, if he trades, it's protecting those Feral Spirits. So how much life is Amaz willing to play to get this done? And the answer is quite a bit.
I like going face there. I mean, I like putting the Rogue on the clock, essentially, and there's no answer to this 4-3. This 4-3 is going to stick around for a few turns.
Well, that's quite annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you have an outlet for the Cold Blood.
Yeah.
That's the positive side, right? But that's about it. That's like...
Lothar's a glass half full kind of guy. That's miserable.
Yeah. CeaRMlann not happy to see the patches drawn there. And what's the math on that? I'm doing a full mulligan for a pirate, not drawing a pirate, and then drawing patches.
Oh, I mean, you got to add that kicker in there.
Yeah.
Not drawing a pirate. I just know what it is of drawing patches. I don't know what it is of drawing not pirate and...
wow. He can still go for a lightning bolt.
CeaRMlann.
Lightning bolt.
Oh,
Let's
he
go.
needs to play the burglar. Like,
Yeah.
If he doesn't play the burglar, this game might as well just be over.
Yeah.
Let's go, burglar. What do you get?
Hey!
Oh, hey, that's not half bad.
It's not bad at all.
It's like you would have played with the hero power and a minion.
Well, it's not good, but it's not bad. And that's really the only way, I think, to describe this card right now. But how much damage can he really take here? I mean, if he's going to Spirit Claws and attack into this wolf...
Yeah.
No, you can't.
I don't think you do it. I don't think you do it. Just because it's such a good value trade on the other side into the 5-2.
That's not half bad. I would actually see Amaz just playing Finals this turn, maybe.
Yeah, just a cycle, I
The
think.
fan of Navs was played this turn, right? You actually see that CeaRMlann is struggling with whatever he has in his hand.
Yeah.
So you might read that those cards are basically super...
situational.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
was looking for that word. So basically, Cold Bloods are the best ones to guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Eviscerate would have been used already to just kill the Trog. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think situational is a really good way to describe this. It could be conceals, could be a pair of auctioneers. I think there's a lot of bad stuff it could be.
I really like Amaz being patient with that first Jade Claw charge. And, it's one of those matchups where sometimes you see Shamans when they play that Jade Claw, they think they're an aggressive deck. They have to go face with it, especially against a rogue. But him being patient with it allows him to now have his second small-time Buccaneer stay buffed as a 3-2 on the board.
Yeah, he's going to have to auctioneer here.
Yeah,
and
there's no other way
he
of
starts
winning
picking up
the game.
preps and backstabs.
Oh, yeah.
Because if this doesn't get underway, the game's going to end.
he just needs now a Conceal,
Uh-oh.
then a Prep, and then an Eviscerate.
How about a Tomb Pillager?
But it's not as good, I would say.
Like, it's pretty bad.
So now you have to use the patches to kill the wolf.
I don't know. This might be desperation, man. This may be like, I hope Cold Blood draws me into backstab, which I hope draws me into prep. Like, that's worth considering right now.
Okay,
because
you might have
there's
a
nothing
point.
else
Yeah,
on the table
yeah.
at the moment.
You might have actually a point. That was probably the one thing that he can do to maybe still have a chance in this game.
Yeah, so, I mean, I still think he's got a chance here, but the thing about it is that's from his
That's
perspective.
lethal right there, guys.
Yeah.
That is lethal right there on board.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15, yeah.
That'll wrap things up. Amaz going to take the
Wait.
series.
It took him a while
Yeah.
in the previous game, so...
He's gonna be very thorough with it. A lot on the line to miss this. So
I don't know. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, he's got
he
it.
sees it.
And that's when Tunnel Chog goes at trades. Okay,
the Aggro
sweet.
Shaman pulling off another 3-0. We've seen a lot of Aggro Shaman 3-0s at this tournament.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
to be fair, that this match was
Should not
really,
have been a 3-0, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be evolving into the way it did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even the first game was like kind of like could have go either way.
Yeah, very
with
close.
The priest, right?
Yeah, a couple decisions here and there could have changed things for sure.
I think it might have still gone Amaz's way in the first game, but I do agree that CeaTMlann played way too conservative in this matchup. He was concerned about some of the wrong issues in some of these
way
spots.
too passive. So it was like kind of he was too aggressive. Sometimes he was too aggressive. Sometimes he was just too passive.
Yeah.
Right. He just wanted to be on the board when he had actually an answer that gets him back to the board. Right. The calling over Amaz portal, that was like literally the best thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah, but a 3-0 for Amaz means that he's moving on
To the top 8, yeah.
to the top 8.
And
Wow, that's actually
CeaTMlann's
huge.
still alive, right? Still alive.
Yeah, still live. He'll play the winner of the lower portion of this bracket. So
Which is Amaz, Reynard versus Life Coach.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn, good.
and you mentioned that you were cheering for some people. I imagine you got to be cheering for Life Coach here, right? VLPS.
I don't know about that, I mean, I cheer for good games. At the end of the day, we want to see just great games all around, no misplays. But, I've been talking to CeaTMlann a lot this weekend, so I'm definitely cheering for him. He's got a lot of cool techs in his Dragon Warrior, so I wanted to see that Dragon Warrior succeed. He's just got to shake this off, kind of reassess things, and move on to this losers match.
Honestly, I'd love to see Reyna go through. I think his play.
Reyna is also
I think his play with Reno and with Freeze Mage has just been fantastic so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that. But it's the man of the hour, Amaz. I'll start things off in game number 2. That one was a bit gifted to you. CeaTMlann had Steady Shot as one of his options.
He told me after the game.
Yeah.
He was telling me, and I was like, whoa. Because I thought he got really bad ones, right? I mean, probably like Totemic Might or like
Reinforce.
Something just bad, and he had to take like board control. But I could have won if he picked Steady Shot.
Oh, absolutely not.
Just attack 5 to the face. You're at 6. 3 turns later, you're dead.
Yeah, he had 28.
I had to kill him over 5 turns.
Yeah, he had 28 HP, and he would kill you in 2 turns, essentially. So
there's no way.
So to talk about this matchup, this was a pretty clean 3-0 for you, and you were taking a lot of time in these early turns, making sure that your options are panning out right. Talk to us about game number 1 when you decided to kind of turn on the heat. You were playing really strict control over the board, but then you drew Lava Burst.
You mean when I was top decking, I guess?
Yeah.
Or was,
no.
This?
It was game number 1 where you're kind of going toe to toe with Dragon Warrior, and then you had Jade Lightning, and you drew Lava Burst, and then you turned on the heat. You went full face that turn. Do you remember it?
I don't remember.
Okay. Is there anything in this
game?
Is there anything in this matchup that stood out to you as maybe a particularly tough turn?
I think everything was tough. I don't play aggro.
Okay.
So I have to go through every situation because people who play aggro a lot, they got the volume of games in, right? And that's super important because when you're in that situation, you realize what's good and what's bad, right? And I have to sit there and think about, okay, what can he play? What can I play? And stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess I got pretty fortunate because I'm really not a good aggro player.
Looked good to me, man. You just navigating unfamiliar
I
territory.
saw you being very thorough with counting the math on the burst damage. So it looked like it was something that you weren't used to doing very often.
I don't count to 20 often, 20 usually is just Leroy Faceless and just,
Exactly.
go to
How
town.
do you do that when you have 2 hands, right?
Yeah, but if it's more than 3 sources, it's gets kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Plus, the game kind of lagged at the end. I was kind of scared. I was like, whoa.
VLPS, is there anything in this match that stood out to you that you want to ask about?
No, I thought you played a great. You chose, like you said, you chose when to go face and when to kind of play the value game with your aggro deck, and that's kind of what sets different aggro players apart from one another. And you pulled off the 3-0 with Aggro Shaman, one of the decks that's been doing very well this weekend. So congrats, and you're moving into the top 8. So good luck in the top 8.
Yeah. Awesome. Lothar, anything from you before we go to a break?
First of all, congrats. Top 8 is a huge achievement, especially in this lineup, 32 players, and that's a really huge thing. But I wanted to ask, because we kind of had this discussion, did you play around Potion of Madness in the first game when you were trading with the Spirit Wolves?
Oh, yeah. I knew he didn't have it. When I played the Pirate in turn 1, so then I was like, he doesn't have it. Just not play around it ever. Right?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't play around 1-ofs ever. When I play against Reno Log, I never play around anything. Maybe that's just how I play.
I don't mind that play at all.
Yeah.
When my opponent has 2-ofs, I often don't play around anything. So Amaz going to move through to the top 8, but we'll find out who's going to keep their hopes alive as another decider match is coming up here at SeatStory Cup. Don't go anywhere. More matches after the break.